Hello my Patreons, and welcome to Cyn Doll 101 A-line mix. Okay, now I'm calling it the A-line mix because I do cut hair a little differently. When I say differently, I mean that I look at hair as an art form. So because I look at hair as an art form, I don't necessarily do hair the way that most people feel that everyone should do it. Yes, okay, so most of the time whenever we are doing a bob, we just think that we have to cut the actual shape, whereas in reality you want to make sure that every piece of hair is cut in a bob, so this way the hair grows out to perfection. Okay, and I'm gonna say this: if you cut a bob in the way that I'm gonna speak of, I'm not saying anything negative about it, but I just want you to change up some things. You want to create something different and give that thing that you do so well your signature. You know, you don't want to do hair like everybody else. Like I taught you guys in my previous videos, like every year there are over 30,000 new hairstylists in the United, I'm sorry, not 30, 300,000 new hairstylists in the United States every single year. So if you want to stand out, you have to do something different, and I believe that this little technique I'm going to show you with the A-line mix is going to kind of do that for you. Okay, so as you can see, this is not moving as fast as my normal videos are. This is real time, no edits whatsoever. Okay, I'm not speeding anything up, nothing. It's real time. Okay, I also want you guys to see, if you're recording, you're a hairstylist, you need to know that you need to learn how to map out your time. We're gonna have some stuff coming with that in a second, but you have to make sure you know how to map out your time, because you will notice in this video I have to stop and readjust the camera a couple of times. Okay, but yes, we make it happen. So I'm showing you guys this, no edits, no anything, because I want you to see the behind the scenes on what really goes on. Okay, so anywho, let's get into this cut. This beauty right here has been one of my clients forever. Like, I've been doing her hair since before I had my children, and my daughter just turned 8. Okay, so yeah, she is absolutely amazing, and we cut her hair all the time. I'm gonna try to attach one of our other video links for me cutting her hair in the description box below, but this has to be about the 4th time I've cut her hair, and I've cut it shorter than we're gonna cut it right now. Okay, so this whole entire haircut was her idea. When she came, she was like, I'm ready for a haircut again, can you cut it for me? And because I'm not doing hair like that and I'm not bookable because I did the pop-up, she was like, let's do it. Okay, so anywho, now I'm going to go ahead and cut this baseline. I like to follow the curvature of my client's neck. Everyone wants to like pinpoint, like, this is how you do it, you have to cut just like this, but the reality is everybody's head is different. You see what I mean? I don't know what just happened, but it's no edits, so it's gonna be in there. But everyone's head is different. Everyone's head is different, so you just never know what issues you could possibly run into, or not even necessarily being an issue, maybe a certain technique. I know I ran into this issue. Certain techniques that I learned, they didn't necessarily fit for every client that I had, so I would do different things. Now at this point I am creating my guide, but as I create my guide, as I get closer to her ears, I am beginning to create this diagonal shape. Now, most of the time, whenever we are doing bobs, whenever we want to do A-line, we just naturally guide the shears down. Where in this video, I want to explain over direction a little bit. Over direction gives you the perfect A-line bob every single time. Okay, once you get your guide and you get all of the hair that you will not be using out of the way, this is perfect. On my videos on YouTube, a lot of people are like, oh, you need to sharpen your shears. Listen, my shears are sharp, honey, but the way I cut, I almost point cut the entire time. I cut with the points with the tip of my shears most of the time, and sometimes it doesn't look that way, but that is how I cut hair because I don't like really sharp lines. It looks like it's a sharp line, you guys, but it does still have texture to it to give it movement and things of that nature. Okay, so as you see right here, as we get, you know, closer to the end, I am using a slight angle, okay, because we want to create an angle, but remember, you don't want it to be so drastic that when she begins to grow her hair out, it's so uneven because the haircut wasn't uniform throughout the head that it ends up growing out uneven. As you guys can see, when we first started out, her hair was even, you guys. Even though her last haircut was a bob, it still grew out even. Okay, go ahead and rewind it. This video yours, girl, yes, or boy. I'm sorry if it's any men watching this, I'm so sorry, but just remember that. Go ahead and go back and you will see that it was all even from root to tip. Okay, she didn't have a grown out bob, and that's why cutting like this is really important. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna keep on going. And we're just sitting here chilling. This is how stuff is gonna be here on Patreon. Here on Patreon, you get real behind the scenes stuff. I'm not being all super lot professional. We learning in here and we're really real. Okay, so for me, a lot of people have a certain way that they cut every piece of hair. Like I said, I cut hair as an art form. You have to literally learn the haircut. That's why it's so important for you to know what you're doing, because once you know the correct way, I'm doing the quotation marks with my fingers, once you know the perfect and correct way to do it, then it makes it really easy for you to add and take things away when they don't serve you. Okay, because sometimes the way I hold my shears, and like I said, depending on my client, the shape of her head, anything, it could determine what I change in the haircut. Okay, so you guys keep on watching this part, and then I am going to come back whenever it's time for us to get into some more over direction. Okay, so at this point, this is where things kind of begin to get a little tricky. As you can see, the lines are becoming sharper and sharper. At this point, I'm using elevation, and this is our over direction. So do you see that line? We want to create a very sharp line, but as I go over to this side, it's gonna make it so I'm able to keep as much length as I possibly can while still creating that angle that I really like. So I'm just going to continue to do these slices using over direction. Of course, when I'm in the middle, you don't go over as far. Like I said, these are things that you want to practice. I really encourage you guys to get you some mannequins and start practicing doing bobs with over direction. Now, yes, of course, we're still going in, we're creating that shape, but it is really easy to cut too much hair to the point where it's not one even cut. Because remember, when you cut a bob or when you're cutting anything, it's about so much more than just getting the shape at the bottom. You want your client's entire head to be cut in this haircut. Have you ever seen someone and the wind will blow, and once the wind blows, their hair has no movement, like it almost looks like a wig because all of the hair moves in one direction? If you do over direction, or if you just make sure the entire head is cut, your client or you will have movement all over your entire head. Okay, so do you see that piece on the side over there and this piece that I'm letting down? And now our serious over direction comes into place because we do not want to cut too much hair on the side and we don't want to leave too many holes. And this is the way to get the perfect A level of elevation and the perfect diagonal angle without going in there and doing it with your clippers manually. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with cutting with clippers manually. Just for me, my personal preference is to make sure the hair is cut in a haircut from the inside out and not just the bottom shape. I really hope that makes sense. Okay, I need you guys to make sure you're communicating with me. Most of you like to just talk, you know, privately in messages, but you guys, let's start having some community here. Yes, okay, yes. But yo, I'm finishing up this haircut. Now I'm gonna take my time and do these small slices of over direction in the front. As you practice this haircut, you guys, remember, move slowly. It is okay. You do not have to rush through your haircuts, because once you cut it off, girl, it's not coming right back, girl. It's gonna take a minute, girl or boy. Sorry. Okay, so now I am doing a little bit of slide cutting. I am just perfecting this haircut. Okay, and we aren't doing a drastic drop at all, and it's not a drastic level of elevation or a drastic angle, but this is the exact cut she was going for, and so this is what we did. Okay, I am gonna go in and point cut a little bit and put some more layers in. The reason I prefer point cutting over regular, you know, just cutting regular when you putting layers in, is because it gives me a lot of texture, a whole lot of texture. Okay, so like I said, you're just gonna see me going back and forth, point cutting and getting rid of certain things. Did you see how that hair just dropped? I love over direction. So you guys, make sure you start doing a little bit more research. Make sure you let me know if whether or not you want more videos on over direction, because if you do, then I will do a very in-depth video about it. The reason that I call this A-line with a twist is because I did a lot of different hair cutting techniques in one. Normally when you see somebody do over direction, they do over direction from the beginning of the haircut to the end, or when somebody cuts the way I started, they do it that way from the beginning to the end. Whereas I like to mix all of these flavors up in one to create what I like, you know. I really hope it makes sense, and I really hope you guys feel encouraged to start really doing your practice, getting you some mannequins, and really doing your research and sitting down and getting into hair again and falling in love with it again and making your own, you know, little title. Because remember, Every technique that is around nowadays was simply created by a hairstylist just like you that had an idea. You just had an idea and it took off. Or let's say you're not a licensed cosmetologist or hairstylist and you just sitting there with an idea. Like, hey, you could be the first one to come up with something. So don't be limited. Of course, there are certain rules that you do have to follow. Like, you're not gonna relax hair and bleach it in the same day, okay? Of course, it's certain things like that. But when it comes to technical things that are not so technical, like a haircut, this one where you can change things up, do it, okay? So like I keep saying, let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know, comments, responses, anything, and we will be having another session very soon, okay? Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your support on my Patreon so much. It helps more than you guys can ever imagine. I appreciate you all so much. Our family is growing so fast and I want to keep it like that. So yeah, bye-bye.
Wake up on Sunday morning, feel that ache inside my heart.